Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. It's the 16th of May. It's 11 a.m. and we've had a very good 24 hours. And we're going to have a look at that today, and we're going to see where are we going to go from now. Mags has asked a very good question in chat, which we will get to in a second once I've gone through what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go through the rally, why it's happened, how we are back at 66,000 already. We're going to have a look at some Solana gems. Are these 100x's or is it just another Shinfluencer? We're going to look at AI trends. We're going to look at 3 AI tokens. We're then going to look at education and a $600 XRP. Is that ever going to happen? We will have a look. Before that, if you are new here, remember we stream every day at 11 a.m. as well as 2 nightly streams where we do trading and charts with Brogan. That was Monday and tonight. Tonight at 9 o'clock, Brogan will be doing charts and trading. And tonight he will be looking at not only the usual crowd, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, he'll also be looking at some of the Chronos Chain projects that we've been covering over the last few weeks on the channel. He'll be having a look at Wolfsap. He'll be having a look at Core. He'll probably be having a look at Push the Button as well. And basically just reviewing what I've been talking about in those videos. So don't miss that tonight. For those of you that are in chat, remember to smash the like button. And if you are new here, hit the follow button. We are at 129,841 followers, only 159 away from 130,000. Bottom right-hand corner, I'm not going to remove that until we've hit it. $74,000 target. That isn't going to go anywhere until it is smashed. So good morning to you, Diablisky, Mags, Only You, Hidden Agendas. Welcome all to the stream. And let's look at the question that Mags has asked today, and we'll go through that when we look at the Bitcoin chart. In the next few weeks, do you think we will be able to maintain $66,000, or will it be possible to see another retracement? That's the question that I'm hopefully going to answer when I get to Rally Chopper. And if you don't know what Rally Chopper is, look it up on Google. It isn't rude. Before we go any further, however, let's go and have a look at the prices. Market cap is up almost 6% today, 2.39 trillion. The volume is back over 100 billion. That's a good sign, up 40 odd percent. Bitcoin dominance, 54.5%. We're going to have a look at that today as well. And Bitcoin dominance, we covered it Monday maybe. We're going to have another look at it today. Ethereum still just over 15%, and Bitcoin is there at $66,300. Ethereum has just scraped above $3,000. So it's been a good 24 hours. We've seen huge gainers. 25% for Phantom, 25% for Say. Immutable X, I'm glad I bought that token. That's up 20%. Beam is up 20%. Near Protocol, another one of my tips, is now $8.14. I was buying that when the week before last it was under $6, maybe $5.60, $5.80. So that's had a good pump in the last few days. Core is up as well as the Graph and Book of Meme and Stacks. So a lot of winners. Are we going to see stable coins in the bottom? No, we are not. We're going to see Pepe profit taking. That's all you need to worry yourself about when you see Pepe. And I did tell you that this was going to happen. Do not chase the tornado. Do not go after Pepe. It will retrace. I gave you the prices yesterday or the day before for Pepe. Nothing rockets 30-40% in 24 hours and keeps that momentum. There's always going to be profit taking. It's probably going to retrace a little bit more. Remember the market cap of $5 billion for a meme coin. That is the kiss of death. Look what happened with Dog with Hat. It went over 5 billion. It fell away. Pepe went over 5 billion, it's fallen back. There is something about that figure that causes meme coins to lose momentum. Who knows what that is? Toncoin is down a touch, Floki, Tron, not a lot else. It's the stable coins. So there you go, really. A good day all in all. Good morning to Tariq and Kishan. Welcome to the chat. Glad you could join us today. So let's get on with some X files and see what we have to talk about. There are a lot of interesting points to cover. And if you are new here, we do try and do this in an hour. We're not going to sit here for the next 3 hours talking about crypto. We'll try and get this done. Dollars worth of spot Bitcoin ETFs. This is not chump change. It is not change that you find down the back of the sofa or you find in your wife or husband's trousers when you put them in the wash. It's $2 billion. There have been a plethora of others which are anywhere from 40 million, 50 million, 100 million. There's been lots and lots of buys, but this has been the big one. So I am going to keep cherry picking out the big ones over the next few weeks, because much as we don't want you to FOMO in, we want all the institutional investors to FOMO in, all the pension funds, we all want them to FOMO in to the Bitcoin ETF. That's what we want. Only you, are Beam and BeamX on the same coin, or are there two different coins? I've never heard of the one ending in X. I'll say that. And Solo Sky, good morning to you. Sorry, I could hear a microphone in the background. It was my phone. Right, so more people FOMOing in. We're going to see more and more over the days. Good morning, Kabir. Welcome to the stream. Block Inc., which is Square, holds 8,100 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Michael Burry, Big Short. I don't know if anyone's seen that film. It's a great film. He holds 90,000 shares in Square. Therefore, Michael Burry owns Bitcoin. There you go. There is a nice connection for you. A lot of people have done this with Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett does not see the intrinsic value in crypto, but he also owns shares in banks and other financial institutions which have Bitcoin on their books. Therefore, you can argue that Warren Buffett also holds Bitcoin in a kind of separated kind of way. Now, here we go. So, daily reminder, 450 Bitcoin a day are mined. 450 Bitcoin a day are mined. $29 million today buys you all 450 Bitcoin at current prices. Yesterday, there were $300 million of Bitcoin bought just by the ETFs. So 10 times the amount that has been mined was bought yesterday. Do the maths. There is a chart that I cannot show you on the stream because it is the chart of the reserves of one of the major exchanges. And it has dropped from 450,000 Bitcoin to 200,000 Bitcoin. And it's done that since these ETFs went live. What happens when there is a supply shock? Think toilet rolls, think pandemic. We ran out of toilet rolls for a long period of time. Then what happened? All hell broke loose. The prices went through the roof. People were selling toilet rolls on street corners for $25 a toilet roll. It went crazy. That's what's going to happen to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to have a rip, and it will rip to the price where many of you will consider selling some. That could be $100,000. That could be $200,000. But at the rate that we are buying Bitcoin, the price would have to 10x from where we are now to match the supply and demand. So where would that put Bitcoin? It would put Bitcoin at $660,000. And no, I'm not saying we're going to be at $660,000 tomorrow. I'm saying if you are buying $300 million a day and the value of what is being produced is only $30 million a day, you have a disparity. And that disparity has to be solved by either the demand falling, and clearly it isn't, or the supply cost rising. Don't sell your Bitcoin because all of these major institutions are buying them. Kabir, the US CPI was fudged lower and everything rips up. Yes, they removed coffee from the CPI figure. That was one of the items they removed from the CPI because coffee isn't drunk by anybody. It's not a daily essential, I suppose. I think next, I said to Brogan yesterday, they'll probably start removing things like bread, potatoes, We don't need to know the gas prices in America. We'll get that out there. And we'll probably end up with the CPI being based on something like the cost of water and the cost of paper, something like that, something else that they can fudge. Remember last year that they fudged the definition of a recession. That's right. The American government changed the Wikipedia definition of a recession. A recession is 2 quarters of negative growth, but not anymore, because they've all agreed that that needs to be changed, and they've changed it to stop them from going into a recession. You can't make this stuff up because they already do. Think of it that way. Now, there's only 2 more of these before we actually get into the news. And today I am tired. I have not really woken up yet. So the meme coin sector has been surging above all others in crypto in Q2. Assets like Pepe are up 100%. Ponke, which we're going to look at in a second when we look at the Solana memes, is up 96%. MAGA, I told you to look at MAGA, is up 80%. Turbo, up 78%. Bitcoin, 76%, have all been major beneficiaries. This past week, meme assets are up 136% in volume. Now, we've seen all of this surge in meme coin activity. We've seen Kitty come back. We spoke about that yesterday. The Wall Street Bets group on Reddit, he's come back after a 3-year hiatus, and that's given them another pump. So expect to see lots of volatility in the memes in the next couple of weeks, at least. Now then, this is the last one. I've not done one of these for a while. You will have to humour me. And this is a grizzly bear catching a fish. You are the grizzly bear. And what you need to do is not jump into that river. You need to sit on the side of the river and wait for the fish. And what I mean by this is, don't chase Pepe, don't chase MAGA, don't chase Bonk. You're buying it based on the news. That's the time people sell. Sit patiently by the river and wait for your chance. If you missed buying Near Protocol, if you missed buying Render, if you missed buying Solana at $126, don't worry. There's thousands of cryptos and hundreds of crypto projects that will be successful over time. If you've missed one, don't regret it, just move on. I am sure hundreds of fish have gone past this bear, and he waited for the one that he could get his hands on. So today, ladies and gentlemen, you are a bear. And you do not get this content anywhere else, may I add. Crypto markets rally, but Ethereum struggles to keep pace with Bitcoin. The ETH price continues to trail far behind Bitcoin. Year-to-date gains, even after the crypto market responded positively to today's CPI print. And again, I think yesterday or the day before, I'm worried about ETH. Not worried to the point where I'm going to sell any, but I'm worried about it as an asset at this moment in time. On May the 15th, the market rose 5.5%, as we just looked at. ETH failed to capitalize on this. It's just back over $3,000. Bitcoin is back at $66,000. I think last time Bitcoin was at $66,000, ETH might have been at $3,200. So it's not ripping with Bitcoin. And the issue is, if it doesn't move up at the rate that Bitcoin moves up, when Bitcoin retraces, Ethereum will start to lag and maybe fall even further. Remember, I said I think Ethereum could end up at $2,400. If nothing changes, Ethereum, I think, could fall. If Bitcoin rips and we start to see 70,000s again, then Ethereum is, of course, going to go up. But I don't think it's going to make it as much. Good morning to Bullish Bull. Welcome back to the stream. Nice to see you here. Crypto markets. So the CPI data, as Kabir said, it is fudged. It has risen, but I was watching Ben Cowan this morning, as I do for my kind of macro news. He's talking about the hard part isn't getting the CPI figure to this. The hard part is shifting inflation from 3-ish% to 2%. That's the hard part. And what he believes is that we're going to see deflationary prices for retailers and deflationary prices for supermarkets. So your bread, your milk, your sugar will start to fall. And that is obviously great for people who are going through this cost of living crisis. You know, things are up 50 to 100% over the last year. It's ridiculous. They will start to retrace in price, not down to where we were, but they might come down 20% over the next year or so. And that will have a positive effect on CPI. So this is good news for crypto. As I said yesterday, Bitcoin and crypto is seen as a risk on assets, are seen as risk on assets. When that's the case, and we're in a period of uncertainty, people will not invest in them. Risk on happens when they think the markets are starting to recover and when prices start to fall. Interest rates will start to fall. Everything will become slightly cheaper. And that's the tail end of this inflationary pressure that we've had. So we don't need to speak about the 5.5% or 5.25%. Weak activity is seen as an indicator that more money will be injected into the system. Remember, Chairman Powell talks about inflation. I'm going to sneeze 1 second, and I'm probably going to deafen you. It's hay fever season. So the pillars are housing prices, unemployment, and inflation. They're his three major pillars. The reason he wants unemployment is it reduces the pressure on employees to pay more for their staff. Simple fact of life. The more people unemployed, the less you have to pay them. Inflation coming down, that will reduce the pressure on prices in the shops. And the housing market coming down will reduce inflation and reduce lots of things. Putting interest rates up kills all three. It kills interest rates, it makes unemployment higher, and it reduces people's ability to get mortgages. That's what he wants. So weak economic data is a sign that interest rates can come down and the money printer can be turned back on. So we're not going to go into too much about this, but suffice to say that we're in a good spot right now, and I'm going to show you very quickly why we are in a good spot. I'm trying to pace the stream, but we're falling behind. So this is the market cap dominance of Bitcoin. So this is the total share of the crypto market that Bitcoin has. Now let's go to the daily, just so you can see what has happened. Look at the rip from Monday. No, we got the news yesterday, which was Wednesday, but look at the rip in Bitcoin dominance. In fact, we could probably go back to Sunday. People were buying into Bitcoin since Sunday. You can see this in the fact that Bitcoin was holding on for dear life to 61.8, 62, 61. It was holding on for dear life. How did it do that? People were selling alts into Bitcoin in preparation for yesterday, sorry. And we ripped up. Now, if you exclude stable coins, we're at 60%. 60% market dominance for Bitcoin. That's kind of where we need to get to. Now, if we go back to the 12th of April when Bitcoin was ripping away, we managed to get up towards this figure here, 56.3%. We're getting awfully close. It wicked, however, to 57%. So we have a ways to go to get higher on the Bitcoin dominance. Now, this is interesting because I'll go out to the weekly actually so you can see. Because you need to appreciate just where Bitcoin went in previous cycles. Bitcoin in January 2021 was 73%. I don't expect us to get back there, by the way. That's never going to happen, I think. But we are going to get to this line here, which I think is 60%, which we've been at before. Now, again, is it a coincidence that Bitcoin is following this path up? I don't think it is, because Bitcoin knows the halving has happened. It knows that it's going to move up as the bull run goes along. And we have a trajectory on here which takes us to 60%. The third we said on Monday, I explained Ethereum, I explained Solana, I explained how they're losing value against Bitcoin. We don't need to go over it again. But bear in mind, the Bitcoin dominance chart you should look at, because it's going to top out, and I think it'll top out at 60%. Other people say a lot higher, and they're far more knowledgeable than me. But I think 60% based on previous price action. That means that on the whole, Bitcoin is going to outperform the market between now and the end of the year. It's not going to outperform individual assets. Maybe it won't outperform Solana, maybe it won't outperform AVAX or Torn, for example, but it's going to outperform the market. How do I know that? Because it's going to get more market share between now and the end of the year than the rest of them combined. It's going to go from 56% of the market to 60%, I think. That's almost 10% of the market, 10% more, or a 10% better performance than the rest of the market. That's what I'm trying to say. So keep an eye on that. If you have got Bitcoin, great. If you're DCAing into other assets, great. This is just showing you the direction that Bitcoin is going in, and it started this way back when. This didn't start anytime soon. This was the 14th of November 2022. So this chart is a year and a half, almost 2 years old, and it's followed this line almost perfectly. So just keep an eye on that. Good morning, Gianni. Now, very quickly, we're going to go back to Mags's question. Mags said, are we going to see another retracement? That was the question posed to us on the stream. Bullish Bull is on his way to Dublin. Now, there's only one reason to go to Dublin, and that's to go to the Guinness factory. So I hope Bullish Bull is on his way to the Guinness factory. Right, let's go and have a look at the Bitcoin chart. We're on the 1 hour. We need to come off the 1 hour. Now, do you remember these white lines that I draw on the screen? And I draw them here. And I draw them on the daily, and they just fit everything perfectly. Well, here you go. I've drawn this line here, and look where we are. Now, you can go back and you can check yesterday, you can check the day before. This line hasn't been moved by me. Why is this line important? Because we have these ranges. And we've been in these ranges, and we rattle around like a skeleton in a tin, and we rattle around these ranges. And I said, and go back and check the charts, we need to get out of this range, get back into this range. Before we even think about this range, I drew 3 bubbles. It might even have been yesterday. Well, look at this. Where did we come to, and where are we sitting at? We are sitting at the next bubble, the next doorway, the corridor of commitment to 74,000. We are at this door, and this door is 66.2, and we are at 66,150. We're at 62.50 when we started the stream. We're here. So what's going to happen? Well, to answer Mags's question, we are either going to do this, or we're going to do this. If you look at the RSI, you would argue that we're going to come down. And I would agree with that. I think we could come down, and we might come down to somewhere about 64.6, 64.8, somewhere around that figure. However, ETFs have a nasty habit of breaking charts, and not necessarily in a bad way. If we see another $300 million being bought today, then we're going to break this line. If people FOMOing in see that some of the companies we've mentioned on here, Rothschild as well mentioned last week, buying Bitcoin, and they decide that they're all going to buy $50 million worth of Bitcoin today, and 6, 7, 8 of them do that, then 300 or 400 million is going to break this line, and we're going to go up. Good morning, Danny. Welcome to the stream. You booked it on Friday. Well, you're only going to go for one reason. I hope you come back in one piece. That's all I can say. You can get very messy in Dublin. So we're at the line. We have a decision to make. Is the CPI data going to be enough to push us above this line? 70% of me thinks we're going to come down here. So I'm going to put 70 on my chart. I think we've got a 70% chance of retracing to 64.8, which is kind of, I'm not going to draw any more lines on here, but let's actually, know what, we'll move this one. I think that's good price action about there. So I think we're going to come down to about here, 70% of me. Remember yesterday I said 75% certain we were moving up yesterday. I'm 70% certain we're going to come down today. So I think we'll retrace a little bit, Mags, in answer to your question. I certainly don't think that we're going to come down and start testing 60,000 again. Remember, this CPI data is supposed to indicate that we've turned the corner. If we have turned the corner, then there is no reason to be weighed down. There was a lot of selling pressure last week that nobody could pinpoint. We don't know who exactly was selling, but that was suppressing the price. We've now broken that. We're up almost 10% really from where we were. We're only really another 10% away from the all-time high. And I said, we've come down 20% or so. It won't, end of next week, we could be back at 74,000. Bitcoin can move in these 5, 6, 7% moves. It can, and it can break resistance. It can wick $3,000 in a day. So I'm not saying we're going to be at 74,000 next week. I'm saying if the ETFs wake up today and choose violence, we're going to go higher. If the buying pressure yesterday was simply due to the CPI data, then it will cool off today and we could retrace a little bit. But if we come back to 64.8, 65, that's a really good price to retrace to. It's still a lot higher. I don't think we're going to come back to where we were. So then, I like to pick these out because I like to give you my opinion on what I think of meme coins, especially coins, I've been through this, especially coins which don't necessarily get a lot of headlines. So 3 Solana altcoins with a 100x potential in May. Now, Jane Lubali has, I imagine, picked out these 3 absolute gems. Now, I've not heard of Jane before, so I imagine she must have kept her gems secret from us for a long time. So let's go through and see which of these 3 she has picked. Bearing in mind, she announced this yesterday. So always bear in mind, when people tell you 3 gems to pick, always bear in mind when they tell you to buy these gems. So dubbed the Ethereum killer, nobody calls Solana an Ethereum killer anymore. That was about 2 years ago. Number 1, DeFi land. DFL shines as a beacon of innovation in DeFi on the Solana blockchain. The token has a significant increase in value in one day with the price now X. So she's telling you to buy a coin that's already gone up to 124%. And it's a coin on Solana that I've never heard of. Or if I have heard of it, I've not heard of it recently. During the previous week, there was an impressive 133% rise in its market performance, while in the last month, it's experienced a 90% growth. So this coin has already gone up 123%. DFL. Should we go and check out? Should we go and check out DFL? Now, I am not picking on this lady before anybody seems to think I am. So she told you to buy this coin yesterday. Okay? She told you to buy this coin yesterday. Now, 100x potential from here, and it's down 30%, would give this a $1.5 billion market cap. Do we think a project is going to go from 15 million to 1.5 billion in a month? Do we? I don't. She seems to think you are. So it's down 30% since she told you to buy it. So would I advise buying into DeFi land? Absolutely not. I bet it's not even listed on any major exchanges. Major exchanges being decent exchanges like the one that you're watching us on. DeFi land is a multi-chain agriculture simulation game. Okay, so let's take this one and throw it across the room into the bin. Okay, what has she told you to buy next? She's told you to buy GameStop. This has gone up 3,400% in the last few days, and she's telling you to buy GameStop. Should we go and have a look at GameStop? Look at that. It's down 51.5% since she told you to buy it. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that? So, let me get this right. She is telling you to buy this coin here at the peak. And she's telling you that this could 100x. So that would give GameStop a $6.4 billion market cap. A $6.4 billion market cap for a meme coin. And I've already told you that meme coins struggle to break 5 billion. And she's telling you this is going to go to 6. And bearing in mind, this is down 50%. So this was maybe 100 million when she told you to buy it. So she's telling you this is going to go to 10 billion. A meme coin is going to go to 10 billion when we know... Why? Why do you mean coin market cap cannot be reached? Right, so she's telling you that GameStop, a meme token, is going to go to 14th position. It's going to outperform everything. It's going to get close to the market cap of Shiba Inu. So take this advice, again, roll it up into a ball, launch it across the room into a bin. Should we see what's up next? Ponke. Ponke's up next. Now this is a good one because Ponke, as far as I'm aware, if we go back, Ponke was one of our top gainers of the day. So maybe we're onto a winner. Maybe we're onto a winner with this one. So Ponke is $120 million market cap. She expects it to 100x. That would give it a $12 billion market cap. $12 billion market cap for this coin. That's what she's telling you. So take this advice, roll it up into another ball and throw it for the bin. And if you get 3 out of 3 in the bin, you've done a better job of doing that than she has of picking these 3 coins. This is why you don't listen to people on the internet, right? Don't listen to them. She's published this halfway through May. So she's giving you, she's either picked 2 coins that have already 20x'd and told you that they're going to do another, whatever that might be, 30x, 20x, 10x. She's wrong. They're always wrong. And do you know why they're always wrong? Because they go here and they go and look at this, maybe the 7-day, maybe the 30-day, and they will go, and I could quite easily make a video for you. I could say 3 hot meme coins to buy in May, and I would pick Pepe, Flocky, and Book of Meme. They would be my 3 picks. Or I could say 3 solid projects to get in May where you will expect massive gains, and I would sell you Phantom, Akash, and Immutable X. It's BS. They are telling you to buy the tops of coins, and you're going to get wrecked and you're going to get disillusioned. And that's why you shouldn't listen to random people on the internet. You shouldn't listen to anybody. Go to these coins and look at them and see if they've already gone up 1,000%, because it's lazy. She's picked 3 coins that have ripped and she's lazy. One's down 30% already and one's down 50%. So if you put $1,000 into each of those coins, you'll have made $130 on one, you'd have lost $300 on another and $500 on another. So you would be down over $600. on your $3,000 investment already after 24 hours. And the market, by the way, for those of you who don't know, has already ripped 5.5%. Even Notcoin won't get a billion market cap today. A few more hours, we will find out. I think Notcoin is going to go over a billion, but I made a video about it to explain why it won't go over a billion. Yeah, and that's the case of other games in that category have managed to max about 1.1, 1.2 billion. So I'm going to wait for the coin to launch, and I'm going to sell every Notcoin that I've got. I'm not going to buy that coin. I'm going to, if I was, I would short it, but that's not financial advice. People will listen to Roaring Kitty again. Now, you know what, Kabir? That's the best thing to do. If you're going to swim with the herd, swim with the herd. Don't swim with a no mark on the internet that's just picked 3 random coins to tell you that they're going to be a success or not. Now, Motley Fool isn't it's not trash. Motley Fool has been around for years, and they started out doing stocks and shares and investment advice, and they've moved a little bit into crypto. So I will give this more attention and more respect than what I've just read. Because what I've just read, if she came to me with that, and I was the editor of that paper, number one, I'd have thrown it in the bin, and number two, I'd have sacked her, or I'd have given her a warning. Because she's leading people down the path of losing money, and that is unforgivable. Now, we're going to go and have a look at this one. And like I said, I haven't read in depth all of these because it was very late and I was trying to get the stream ready for today. I think I didn't get it ready till about 11:30 last night, so I'm a little bit tired today. And that's why I'm a little bit grumpy, and I don't have time for the BS that some people sprout on the internet, to be perfectly honest with you. So AI trends. So Bitcoin has stalled as it had correctly. Now, some newer crypto tokens with AI connections are still buoyant. Some of them are up more than 132%. This is, of course, all the way down to the fact that we have NVIDIA, we have AI, we have the revolution coming. VCs are putting all of their money into AI, so we know it's going to be the big thing in the future. So let's see what 3 coins have been recommended by this article. Now, the likelihood is we'll have covered them anyway. If they're worth the salt, we'll have covered them. Now, Render, we spoke about very briefly, and Render, is Render the one that's got the deal with Apple? I believe it is. So Render is up 132% for the year. The market cap is already 4.5 billion. Keep that in mind. It now ranks as a top 25 currency. Given its recent ascent, some investors now refer to Render as the NVIDIA of crypto. And you might have guessed from the name, it offers GPU-based rendering solutions for studios, artists, and creators. What is the one fundamental flaw that we have with AI graphics? We do not have enough graphics GPUs to fulfill the needs and requirements of all the AI projects. We don't have them. So we are going to come to a point where these AI projects are either going to merge or they're going to be fighting over GPUs. One of those two things is going to happen. We don't know where we're going to go. We don't know how we're going to get there. Maybe there'll be a new chip. NVIDIA cornered the market and still corner the market. And this is the only existential threat to Render and other graphics-based AI projects. If they don't have the GPUs, they're going to have to skyrocket the price so that the demand falls to the point where they will be able to service the demand. That's the issue that Render have on their plate. But it is going to be a success, yes. So I'll give them 1 for 1 on that one. Render is a good project to look at. We'll carry on reading down this. That's not why crypto investors are so excited about Render. The thinking now is that the same decentralized GPU computing power used for rendering can also be used for AI. If you want to train an LLM, for example, you will need a lot of GPU compute, which is the raw power. Now, they're not talking about the fact that there is a lack of supply. So anyway, we'll forgive them that. And I do agree, Render is going to be a good project. This is a better pick than any of the 3 from the last article. Fetch then. Fetch is up 280% for the year, and now ranks as a top 50 crypto. We've been talking about Fetch on this channel now for 2 years. We made an AI stream 2 years ago, and it was focused mainly on Fetch and Singularity. They were the two tokens we picked 2 years ago when the token was worth 20 cents, 25 cents, 30 cents, whatever it might be. It ripped up, it came crashing down, and now it's back. Now, this is an open, permissionless, decentralized machine learning network with a crypto economy. What that means is they have nodes around the world, and you come to it and you say, I want to do X. I want to look at this big data. I want you to analyze this data, and I want you to give me the information. You then pay using Fetch. So immediately there is a demand for the token because you have to buy Fetch to pay the bots around the world, or not the bots, the nodes around the world. Is this needed? Yes. Are they the front runner? Yes. Are they going to corner the market? I'm going to explain why I think they will in a minute. Now, FET, according to FetchAI, the highest growth opportunities are in sectors such as logistics, transportation, and smart energy grids. As proof of its growing industry focus, Fetch recently partnered with Bosch, which we've covered in a video, and Deutsche Telegram. We've covered that in a video as well. Since 2017, Bosch has partnered with NVIDIA on AI-powered self-driving cars. We mentioned that in the video as well. And then look at this, Singularity again. That's also up. It's a top 75 cryptocurrencies, 1.2. We know about this. Now, is it going to mention this in here? I don't think it's mentioned it in here, but they're merging. Fetch, Singularity, and Oceans are merging. They're going to become the ASI, Artificial Super Intelligence Token. That's happening on the 24th of May, 8 days from now. If you hold any Fetch, if you hold any Singularity on the centralized exchange you're watching us on now, those tokens are going to be swapped for ASI. Again, I've made a video about that. They believe that they need to do this merger to combat Microsoft and Google and the other big players who are trying to corner the market of AI. But they're trying to do it in an uncensorable way because Google's AI, it's broken. You ask it for pictures of the forefathers and it brings you back a picture of the forefathers, but they're all black, for example. It's broken, it's woke. They're trying to create a neutral one, and I would be very surprised if Elon Musk doesn't get involved. He was involved with Sam Altman at OpenAI. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets involved in crypto AI in the very near future. So again, I like the warning at the end. AI is a relatively new industry. What this means, a competitor can come along and challenge Render, Singularity, Fetch, ASI. It can challenge the market, and in 5 years' time could be the biggest AI project in the market. If Google or Microsoft get behind an AI crypto project, that could be the threat to any of these AI projects because it's so new. So always remember there's an inherent risk in investing in those types of tokens. So, you know what? That's 3 for 3. We've gone from 3 absolute trash picks to 3 very good picks, in my opinion. And for full disclosure, I hold Fetch and Singularity. I don't hold any Render. I'm not calling it a one-trick pony because that isn't really very fair. Now, I have picked a chart out of this to show you, and it's probably the last time I'll ever show you this chart because the token will not exist in 8 days' time. And this is the Fetch chart. So if you're thinking of getting in and you're thinking that, you know, it's too late to buy this token, you know, it's ripped too far out of my grasp and, you know, I've missed it. Like the bear, remember the bear trying to catch its fish. Remember, you know, like we say, not everything goes up forever. So this had a huge rip up here, went all the way up here, but we have seen it in decline because the market has declined, remember. The market's declined. So we've seen that kind of downward action. So at the peak, you were looking at $3.20. Today you're looking at $2.30, but it's still a good price for this token. It's still a good price for this token. Remember, it floats with crypto, it floats with Bitcoin. So, you know, when you see these huge rips up that are here, this was the beginning of the bull run. If we go all the way back here, I mean, February it was 53 cents. So you've 4x'd, 4.5x your money since then. But can it go higher? Absolutely. I'm not saying it's going to 10x. It certainly won't 10x. But when it merges and becomes ASI and becomes a $7 or $8 billion project in the bull run, I would expect it conservatively to go into the 20s or $30 billion, because it will challenge NEAR. There'll be NEAR protocol at the top, then there'll be ASI, and then there'll be Render. And that would be a good bag to hold NEAR, to hold ASI, and to hold something like Render as well. Even though I'm not a fan of Render, I still appreciate what it can do. So don't think you've missed the boat on this. We are still, what are we? We are maybe 50% off the all-time high. That's not a bad price to get in at. Certainly not. Will it come lower? Well, I don't know. It was one of those coins. It didn't quite touch its bull market support band. It tried down here, and maybe it did on certain exchanges, but it's kind of found a bottom now, hasn't it? It's kind of found a bottom, which is about $2, and the price seems to be fluctuating in that kind of range, which is $2.53. Maybe the price won't move between now and the 24th, but when that new token launches, I do expect that new token to pump a little bit as well. So bear all that in mind. AI for me is a good pick for the next few years. I'm not going to say the next bull run, because we're rapidly approaching next year. And again, you have to remember, crypto is in a 4-year pattern. Certain projects are aligned to the 2025 bull run. Other projects, which are just starting out, are maybe not ready for the next bull run. Maybe they'll be ready for the bull run after. And ASI might just be too soon for this bull run, but it will probably rip a lot in the next bull run. So sometimes you want to hold tokens for 6 weeks, then sometimes you'll want to hold tokens for a year. There might be tokens that you want to hold for the end of the next bull run, which might be October, November, and then sell out of them and never hold them again. And then maybe the AI tokens, because remember, we are 2 years away maybe from seeing the real impact of AI. That takes us to 2026. That takes us to the bear market, 2027, the bear market. So it might not be AI's time. It might be the next one. So think about that as well. So post FTX crypto industry needs education before regulation, former Biden advisor. What I preach for is regulation that protects and prevents, but does not cripple and destroy innovation, the senior advisor told Cointelegraph. The crypto industry needs to prioritize investor education over stringent regulations as it recovers from the downfall caused by the collapse of FTX exchange. It recovered months ago, a year ago, which resulted in $8.9 billion in user funds lost. That is a lie. This is a lie. They did not lose the money. They have managed to find the majority of the funds. In fact, I think they've got 100%, 110% of all lost funds have been found. So this is a lie. Who wrote this? Again, I'm on a mission today. Zoltan, you need to do your research. Financial education, especially regarding risk management, should be the fundamental concern of the crypto industry, he told Cointelegraph. Let's have a look. Education is the fundamental key to empowerment. We will not have equality in any form until we have economic parity. We are not going to have economic parity until we teach people to be, instead of unsophisticated at anything, sophisticated, and that comes through education. I totally disagree with this statement, believe it or not. The senior advisor's comments come a week after FTX's new amended proposal was released on May the 7th. The proposal promises billions in compensation for the users. It's not billions in compensation, it's billions of assets being returned. Learn what you are talking about before putting something on the internet. The meltdown of FTX and its over 130 subsidiaries forced regulators to take action and develop investor safety orientated. Did it? What did they introduce? They didn't introduce anything. What safety orientated regulations were brought out? Again, there aren't any. Instead of regulatory efforts that may stifle digital asset innovation, the industry would benefit from educating investors. To my fellow Democrats a bit to my left who are a little overzealous on regulation, stop it. You're not doing anybody any favours. It might make you feel good because you think you're protecting the unsophisticated investor, but rather than having to overregulate to protect, why don't you make the investor sophisticated? It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, there are a large group of people in this world, let's call it 50% of people, who are never going to understand stocks and shares. They're never going to understand the markets. They're certainly never going to understand crypto, and you need to accept that. Believe it or not, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Fidelity, and Vanguard, they are the saviors. Now, as much as they are demonized for what they do, and that's a different argument, your grandmother should not need to know anything about Bitcoin or crypto. Your auntie and uncle who were in their 50s, who were building a pension pot, should not need to know anything other than it's called Bitcoin. They should go. This is why you can't get rid of banks, because you have disabled people, you have people with mental issues, you have old people. They are never going to learn crypto. They shouldn't have to learn crypto. Education is nonsense. What you need is financial institutions to do all of the heavy lifting, do all of the research, and produce products that they can invest in that over a period of 20 or 30 years will not leave them broke and penniless when they retire. That is how you solve the problem. You cannot teach people something that they don't have the comprehension to learn. Why do they need to know about blockchain technology? Why do they need to know about DeFi? They don't. Stop. This is cloud cuckoo land. This is what you hear from the left all the time about equality. You shouldn't be chasing equality. You should be chasing excellence. Excellence on a sporting field, in a business, in education. Excellence should be rewarded. Where does that excellence come from? BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Fidelity should have excellence. I should be able to go in and say, listen, I don't know anything about crypto, I don't know anything about this, I don't know anything about that. I want a pension fund and I want to retire in 15 years' time. And they should say to me, this is what you should be investing in, not telling people that they should be educated on crypto. My mother wouldn't have a clue where to start. The reason FTX failed was because of America, not because of a lack of education. They lied to people. They were not regulated. They were not audited by anybody. The auditors went in at the end too late because they were in Barbados or wherever it was. If they'd been set up in America, they would have had the SEC crawling all over them. They commingled funds, which is illegal. They stole funds, which is illegal. This was not the fault of cryptocurrency. This was not the fault of the markets. This was a bad actor. Celsius was a bad actor. BlockFi, a bad actor. Bad actors happen in every industry. Don't blame the individual for the fault of the nation and the regulator. That is not how you do this. Crypto began since we lost the trust in banking financial institutions. Absolutely we did, Kabir. You're right. And why were they allowed to do what they did? If you watch 2 or 3 of the Netflix documentaries about why we lost faith, you will understand that we lost faith because they were allowed to do it. If you remove the consequences, let's use that word. If you remove consequences from life, what happens? Society would break down into chaos. If I could go out and do whatever I wanted to do without consequence, take things from a shop, take things from somebody else's property, and I know I'm not going to go to prison for it, society would descend into chaos. Now, Goldman Sachs, Fannie Mae, which was crushed, by the way, BlackRock, Barclays, all of the major banks, they were allowed to do this by the regulator. The regulator is the reason we have seen the 2008 market meltdown, the crash. I was there when it happened, I saw it all happen. They are the reason we had it. So, although we lost faith in the banks, our anger was misplaced. The anger we have today about the cost of living crisis, we blame things which are not the fault of. The reason we have a cost of living crisis is because your country printed way more money than it needed to print to get through the pandemic. The government is the sole reason we are in this situation. The regulator is the sole reason that the 2008 market crash happened. It's the sole reason that FTX happened. And it's the sole reason why we are seeing the SEC suing everybody, because they are trying to enforce by the courts. They are not producing regulations. They didn't produce regulations in 2008. 2008 was bribery, lack of oversight, and allowing the banks to think that they were never going to crash. And that's the fault of the regulator. And the regulator reports to the government. So they are the people to blame. You are allowing greedy people to do whatever they want to do. And when it comes crashing down around your ears and around our ears, who bails them out? The government. And how does the government bail them out? By printing money. And what happens to your money? It's worthless. So you suffer because the government can't keep check on the banks. And I've not seen a single argument against anything I've just said in the last 16 years since it happened. And the person who made a fortune out of it, by the way, in 2008 was Warren Buffett. Because when Goldman Sachs needed a load of money to shore up its books, it gave him God knows how many shares in Goldman Sachs and a loan at 10%. I think it was 10%. And he borrowed them billions. He lent them billions, sorry. And he made a fortune out of it. So people made a lot of money. Money doesn't disappear. Lots of people made a lot of money out of that crash. And The Big Short is a great film to watch because subprime mortgages were the reason it all fell down, but it wasn't the reason it got to the position it got to. It got to it because people rehypothecated money left, right and centre. I borrow 100 million, I lend 100 million. I borrow another 50 million, I lend another 50 million. It's just words and numbers on a page. Now the last article, again, I feel like I've gone through a clown show today. XRP to $600. Analyst makes bold claim, but can it overcome legal hurdles? Now, again, let's just go and do a reality check on this, shall we? So XRP is currently at 50 cents. So it would have to go up 200 times in value, which would give it I don't even know what that is. Somebody help me out. Is it $5.6 trillion market cap? $5.6 trillion. The total market cap today is 2.4 trillion. So it would have to be 2.5 times the value of all of crypto put together to get to $600. Let's see. Let's see. Sometimes I just despair at these price targets. I despair because it's feeding you a false dream. Because you're going to sit there and say to yourself, if I buy 1,000 XRP for $500, that 1,000 XRP is going to be worth $6 million. It's never going to happen. Is it $6 million? $600,000, whatever it is. I am tired today. Right then, where are we? So a fresh prediction has ignited discussion in the XRP community. So Crypto Bilbu is charting an ambitious course for the currency with a potential price target that has some investors excited and others skeptical. Don't be excited by this. Don't be excited by it because it's not going to happen. I don't care what a fib level tells you. I don't care what a chart level tells you. It cannot sustain. I mean, could it 10x? Yes, it could 10x. It could go to $5. Could it go to $10? Yes, it could go to $10. Could it go to $600? What would that give it? That would make it, again, I can't even work it out. Would it make it 3-4 times the value of Bitcoin? I mean, come on, seriously? Imagine a roadmap to the summit. Fibonacci levels act as checkpoints, highlighting potential resistance and support zones. Crypto Bilboo suggests XRP could break through the $33 mark. $33 for XRP would make it worth what? 66 times 28. That would give it, I don't know, let's call it 2 trillion, sorry. That would make it a $2 trillion asset. Again, totally, in my opinion, totally unrealistic. I mean, come on. Really? This would be a significant step towards forward, but the real climb comes next. A projected ascent to $589 based on the fib levels. I mean, guys, seriously, how is it going to warrant the amount of money and liquidity coming into XRP to get it anywhere near that price? That would require a 100,000% price rise. This ambitious target has many market analysts raising eyebrows. It is a leap that some consider more akin to wishful thinking. Absolutely, this is just nonsense. At the time of writing, XRP was trading at 50 cents. 50 cents. And people are saying this is going to go to $600. The $589 narrative used to be the main focus. The community's excitement to see it at $580 is evident in the tweet below. I'm not even going to read any more of this. I'm not going there. It's not going to happen. You, in the next 5 years, let's call it the next 2 bull runs, you are not going to see a $589 XRP in the next 2 bull runs. You're never, ever going to see it in the next. Before 2030, no chance. After 2030, probably no chance. 2040, who knows? It's 16 years away. If XRP becomes the de facto and de jure method used by banks, then potentially it could have a $1 trillion, $2 trillion market cap. But I mean, I know we have the court case hanging over it. I know we have the fine that's going to get paid. I know all of this. And I know that when the fine is paid, it's going to rip up. I also know that this is looking very suspicious. Why do I think this is suspicious? Because from June 2022, for 2 years, XRP followed this price action. Very similar to what I was showing you with the Bitcoin dominance at the start of the show. It's following this trend line. Now, what I find really interesting is, what do I tell you about shinfluencers? Shillfluencers. I tell you that they tell you to buy a coin so they can sell it. That shillfluencers have been telling you to sell XRP because it's not worth it. It's not worth the money. 1 second, I am lagging. Are we back? Are we back? Yep, we're back. Sorry. We lagged for a second there. Just want to make sure that we are back on path. Okay. So, when they tell you to buy, what are they doing? They're selling. They tell you to sell at the top. We've talked about these pre-sales where influencers get to buy the coin for $0.01. The listing value is 10 cents. You can make 10x your money. I've told you all of this. They're telling you to sell XRP. Now that appears to me to be pushing the price down. And this price doesn't seem to want to go below here, which is where we're at, 50 cents. I've also said that I think the XRP court case is going to be over by June. So if they want you to sell, what do you think they're doing? I think they're buying down here. And I think they're going to buy down here at 50 cents. And as I've said to you before, I think this is going to break the 93-cent mark. And I think we could be at $1.30. I am not going to tell you we're going to be at $10 at this stage of the bull market. I'm giving you some prior price targets for the coin. I think we'll break $1 when this news comes out. So they are not stupid, and they know way more than I do. I mean, again, who am I? I'm just a bloke that sits here and gives you my opinion on crypto. But don't you think it's suspicious that we get so close to the ruling, and this line that has, it's wicked below, but it's held support on this line for 2 years, and then you're telling me it does this before the announcement? I don't think so. I mean, the other scenario is that XRP are selling here because they have to build up the $100 million or $200 million that they need to pay the fine. That's the other theory. But I have seen, and I'm not going to name them, I have seen 3 of the most major crypto streamers out there all saying that they've lost patience with XRP. These same people are also saying they've lost patience with Cardano. I don't believe them on Cardano, and I don't believe them on XRP, and I think this is very suspicious because we all know the second the fine is paid, everybody who wants to buy into XRP will buy into it because the threat has gone. At the minute, we don't know what the fine is, by the way. The fine could be $2 billion. The fine could be $100 million. We don't know. And that uncertainty is hanging over it. But it's like, you know what, guys? I mean, I could sit here and say the same thing. Listen, sell your XRP. Sell your XRP. It's worthless. It's never going to go anywhere. But what you should be doing is you should be thinking about why it's broken. And if I'm telling you that in June, well, you know what we'll do? We'll put a marker in place. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll hold my hands up. I'm going to put a marker in there. Now, I think that by this marker, we are going to be up there. I do not think we are going to be down here. So I'm going to leave that there for now. And that is where I'm going to finish the show because it's nearly 10 past 12. A big thank you to everybody that's watched. Remember, if you're new here, smash the like button. Brogan is back tonight. He is streaming at 9 o'clock. The chart and trading show. He's going to do the show in 2 parts. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. The second part is going to be Cronos Chain coins. He will look at Core, Crow with Knife. He will probably look at Push the Button. He'll probably look at something like Moon, maybe even Meri, M-E-R-Y. He'll look at those coins. He'll do the show in 2 parts. So if you want even more crypto tonight, in 9 hours, Brogan will be streaming. If not, I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully, I will be a little more awake and less tired than I am today. So thank you everybody who's been watching. Like and subscribe. I'm going to go and try and catch up on my video making now. And remember, we are back, baby, but there's a question mark at the end. So take care. See you all tomorrow.